Thank you.
Anyone here for prescriptions only? Prescriptions only.
Well, we didn't make it for the milk. Or Wednesday, October 2nd. It's gone.
Okay, now it's really like the apocalypse.
More empty aisles.
It's literally the apocalypse.
I misspoke. They have showers outside of Walmart on Airport Road.
What you all just saw happening there in that clip is not just happening in North Carolina, it's happening in other areas as well. They're making people line up in these long lines to go into these grocery stores that are completely empty. So waiting in these lines, in many cases, it's basically pointless. And I don't know if you've watched my last video. If you haven't, you probably should. Truckers that are coming into these areas that were the most affected by this hurricane, they're reporting that their tires are being slashed at the truck stops when they're sleeping. And this is happening in multiple states. So there's really something shady going on. These truckers are purposely being targeted just to create more chaos and to ensure that the help that is arriving for these people does not arrive. Also, there's reports of FEMA coming in, taking control of a lot of the donations that have been coming in. It's completely wild, and I can tell you for a fact that the death toll is higher than what they're reporting. The number of missing and unaccounted for, it's higher than what they're reporting. You can go on social media, look at the, I don't know if you know people in these areas or not, but if you go on social media, there's so many people that are still looking for loved ones that haven't heard from them, they haven't seen them, they can't find them. There's little search and rescues going on where people are independently, going against what law enforcement is saying and going into these areas trying to find people. It's absolutely wild, and there's a lot of chaos going on that's simply not being reported. But we're kind of used to seeing this by now. And speaking of all of the missing people and the people who are still unaccounted for, you also have to realize that in certain areas in Tennessee and like the mountainous areas of North Carolina that were most affected by this storm, a lot of these people are, let's just say, they're not social butterflies, okay? A lot of these people stay to themselves. They're private people. They stay on their own land. They don't have much contact with other people. Some of these people don't have families and friends that are going to come looking for them. So you have to take that into account as well, that a lot of these people stay to themselves. So we're not even going to hear about some of the people who are missing or who were affected by this storm. So that's another thing that you have to take into consideration. But I want to go ahead and roll this clip. Let's hear a little bit more about what's going on out there, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Hey y'all, so I'm safe in my house. Our power came on. I have water and I'm so blessed. But the reports that are coming out of these towns in western North Carolina are horrific. The news is not even coming close to catching the true devastation. There are bodies that are floating down the river, babies. And if this is not a wake-up call that our government is not for us, then I don't know what is. They're everyday citizens who are taking it upon themselves to go and deliver items and things to these people. Anyway, pray for Western North Carolina. Don't believe everything that you're hearing on the news, because they're not. One of my friends in Canada had heard that there were like 200 people missing and maybe 40 dead. Y'all, so much more than that. At the local hospital in Nashville, there are over 900 unidentified bodies. And that was just from 2 days ago, so I'm sure there are more, but there are. People are floating down the river. And if you're able and you can donate, or you can get it in the hands of a real person, there were like, I think, 10 different truck drivers who were trying to deliver goods, and they all stopped on the way up there, and every single tire was slashed. And so it's going to be up to us. We cannot count on Uncle Sam. It's going to be neighbor helping neighbor. And I don't care how old or young you are. If you can't get out there or you can't donate, you can pray. Because the devastation is nothing like I have ever seen. And I think this is going to go down probably as one of the worst storms in American history. I just cannot fathom the pain and the destruction and the stuff that these people are going through. So anyway, just remember Western North Carolina, and listen to the people who are on the ground, not the news, because they don't know. Anyway, y'all have a good day.
I don't know about you all, but I had my wake-up call a long time ago. Hell, it feels like every few months we have a major wake-up call. It feels like every few months we all gather together right here on this channel to discuss another disaster, another major wake-up call that wakes people up to the fact that when something bad happens, the government is not going to be here to help you. Yeah, they may be here to help other countries, but they're not here to help you. And that's really sad, because we live in America, right? This is supposed to be the greatest country on earth. And regardless if you think it is or you don't think it is, the fact is we have enough resources that we should be able to take care of our own people. Every American citizen should feel confident that if a disaster happens, our government has enough money and resources to help us out. Because we have enough money and resources to help out any other foreign country in the freaking world. We have enough money and resources to allow immigrants to flood into our country and pay for their living, pay for their groceries, pay for everything. So at the very least, we should have the confidence that we would be taken care of if an emergency or a disaster happens. But we don't have that confidence. And if you do have that confidence, you're crazy, because daddy government ain't coming to save you, folks. And the people of North Carolina will tell you that themselves, because they have private helicopters, citizens going in and doing half of these search and rescue missions. And now they're being threatened with being arrested. Hey, you're going to go save these people and bring them supplies? We'll arrest you. That's what they're going through. And then you got trucks that are trying to deliver goods to the area that are having their tires slashed. They're obviously being targeted. You got a lot of wild and crazy stuff going on. So yeah, I feel like we all should have had a wake-up call by now. But at the very least, I hope that my videos serve as a wake-up call to someone. Because sometimes people need that extra little nudge. And I feel like we've been getting a lot of nudges lately. My freaking sides hurt. But I will say this, I'm extremely grateful, because I've rode out plenty of storms. I've lived through plenty of hurricanes. And luckily, I've never experienced anything like some of what people are experiencing in various areas of Tennessee, North Carolina, and Florida. You know, I'm extremely grateful to be here. I'm extremely grateful that my home is here. I'm extremely grateful that my loved ones are okay. My aunt, who owns a home in Steinhatchee, even though Steinhatchee got decimated, somehow her home's okay. So I came out extremely blessed, and I feel so grateful, and looking at the devastation, covering these stories that are coming out of North Carolina, it makes me feel extremely grateful because I could be in this same situation. It's not far-fetched for me to believe that I could be in this same situation with how many storms pass through my area or hit me, every year. It's really crazy. So there's that for sure. But even though I'm feeling extremely grateful right now, I'm also really angry. I mean, even though I've covered so many stories like this one, so disappointed by our government's response to these disasters, and I'm used to this by now, I'm still extremely angry when I hear about these stories coming out of the area. I'm extremely angry when I hear that, certain government agencies are coming in and disrupting the help that, neighbors and citizens are providing to their fellow neighbors and citizens. There's so much stuff coming out of this freaking storm. So many stories. I haven't even been able to really touch on most of what's going on right now. But yeah, all of it is very enraging because there's so many stories that I'm hearing that it's like, it doesn't have to be this bad, right? There's people who are dying that don't have to be dying right now. These people could have and should have been saved by now. So it's extremely, it makes me so angry because listen, you have these disasters, you have these storms come through, and things happen. Some things are out of your control. But there are little things here that are within our control. And our government is ensuring that they're making things worse than what they have to be. Now, when you have bodies floating down the river and through the floodwater, when you got cars, you got entire homes just floating down the road, right? You think that things can't get worse than that, but they can. Because also it's all about the response. It's about how comfortable you're made to feel after experiencing something like this. After losing everything, you would hope that your government could provide you with food and water. Little things that you shouldn't have to worry about in a situation like this, at least when you're living in America, right? So, there's ways that they can make stuff like this even worse than what it has to be. An already horrific, terrible situation. It's the little things sometimes that can make this stuff better, or it can make it worse. And they're doing things to make it worse instead of better. And that is very frustrating. But I'll go ahead and end this video for now because we're going to be talking a lot about this in future videos. So let me know what you think about this so far down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.